ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long time, but today I really want to talk about Halle Bailey and Skai Jackson and why you should not have a baby by your op or a yerky. So I just want to set the tone here that this video is not about gossip or slandering anybody, putting anyone down. It's about talking about these cycles, especially with these child stars, especially a lot of these seemingly like young black child stars in Hollywood, and this kind of path they seem to be going down where they seem to have it all. They seem to be on top of their game, on top of the world. And then they just make really critical decisions, such as procreating with men that don't respect them.
Where is Halo at?
What do you mean? He's sleeping, he's in bed, RN?
Give me my fucking son back.
What? Why are you acting like this? What have I ever done for you to act like I'm some sort of monster that would keep your son from you?
Oh, get the fuck off my live talking about some bullshit. Get my dick out your mouth. How about that? How about that?
And I just think it's a really sad, I guess, trend we're seeing. And I just want to discuss it. And I just kind of want to talk about a lot of the themes around it. So let's get into it. So first, we're going to talk about Halle Bailey. So Halle Bailey came out a few weeks ago, about a month ago, and it came out that she got a restraining order against her ex-boyfriend and father of her child, Halo. So with this incident, there were many patterns of including DDG calling her names, pulling her hair, slamming her face into a steering wheel, and then her showing pictures of him chipping her tooth and also giving her bruises all over her arm. And then in March, DDG allegedly trespassed, took pictures of her bed, and basically was like, I know what you've been on, basically implying that she's sleeping with other men, and smashed her Ring camera and threw away her phone. And basically threw it out a car window. He also sent harassing texts on Mother's Day, because there was a rumor going around that Halle was dating Brent Faiyaz, and he got really jealous over that and was sending her all these kinds of texts, and then basically got her fans to bash Halle and all that. So court granted temporary sole custody of Halo to Halle, and DDG is on supervised visits, and he also has travel restrictions on like where he can take Halo, the fact that he has to let Halle know like when he's leaving places, where he's staying, all these kinds of things. So there's been a lot of fallout from this. There's been tons of fallout. A lot of people have been claiming that Halle deserved it. There's been so much fallout from DDG's little streamer friends, running to his defense and bashing Halle and basically saying, oh, let DDG be a dad. Like,
she's falsely accusing DDG of some shit. I think that DDG needs to keep doing what he's doing and keep doing this shit and keep going with the law. I genuinely believe that anything she's trying to sue him over, it needs to be countersued, which she's doing.
If he hurts you, that's one thing, but don't let it take away from him being a father. Halle also said that DDG does not really take care of Halo whenever Halo is in his possession. He's always passing Halo off to the grandma. So it's kind of like you're not even watching over your son. You're not even taking care of your son. You're not even doing what you need to do as a father. You're just pawning him off to your mom and then just doing whatever you want to do. And then only bringing Halo in when it benefits you, which is on stream. All right, y'all, editor me is popping in, and I'm popping in because there have been some crazy developments in the Halle Bailey and DDG saga since when I filmed this video. So I filmed this video on Monday, which I believe was June 2nd. So as of Wednesday, June 4th, which was yesterday, DDG filed an emergency motion to stop Halle Bailey from taking their son Halo out of the country. So Halle is traveling on Saturday or Sunday, I believe, to go film a movie in Italy. And DDG filed an emergency motion to stop Halle from taking Halo on the grounds that she's an unfit mother and she's a danger to herself and Halo. So I read the whole restraining order. Yes, I read and I went through the 91 pages. I actually didn't really go through the part about his mother's statement and the mother's fiance. I didn't really read much of that because really it was just like an eyewitness account of what DDG was already talking about. So I didn't get super deep into that. I just kind of went into what he said as well as the text messages. So we're just going to kind of get into it. I think it gives a lot of context to their relationship. I definitely think like in my original commentary, I was kind of speaking from like what I could see, but also because I wasn't on the inside of their relationship, I felt like, okay, I don't know everything. So this is just what it appears to be to me. But this restraining order, I think, really gives a lot of context to just how volatile and toxic their relationship was. And these two people should have never been together, and they both need help. Okay, they both need help. They should have never been together. But yeah, we're just gonna kind of get into it. Yeah, also, by the way, as of today, this morning, June 5th, a judge actually blocked DDG's motion. So Halle is still allowed to take Halo out of the country. So, you know, anyway, we're gonna get into the whole breakdown of, I guess, what really jumped out at me from this restraining order. So on page 27 is where he really gets into a lot of the emotional and coercion from Halle, specifically around the pregnancy. So before then, he talks a lot about just like the general, you know, things that she was doing, but this gets more into like when she was pregnant with Halo. So in April of 2023, DDG said that this is when Halle disclosed that she was pregnant with Halo. And they had multiple conversations of plans to co-parent together, even though their relationship had ended. So at this point, Halle and DDG were not together. They were not together at this time, but even though their relationship was unstable, he still agreed to have the child and take on the responsibility and, you know, try to keep things together. So basically, he said that he made it clear to Halle that he would support whatever decision she made regarding the pregnancy. So that means whether to keep the baby or to abort it. And all he wanted to do was be a part of the decision. So moving to June of 2023, he finds out from Halle's OBGYN that Halle had attempted to abort the baby but failed to take the second abortion dose. So Halle had moved on without telling him about this plan, and then he ended up asking her, why would you abort our child when we agreed to co-parent together? And then he said that's when Halle threatened by demanding that we reconcile or she would go through with the abortion. And this was the most troubling of her attempts to coercively control me. So basically, you know, he is saying that Halle would use threats of getting rid of Halo in order to keep him in the relationship. Then he says that following this threat to abort the pregnancy, coupled with the fact that she attempted to abort without informing me, I made the decision to cut ties with her. I could no longer be subject to her controlling behavior, and I wondered whether her actions may have jeopardized the health and well-being of our unborn child. So even though he said he wanted out of the relationship, Halle insisted that Halo was unharmed and, you know, began to take him to multiple medical appointments and went to all these things saying, hey, he's fine, he's fine, he's fine. And DDG said that he thinks that this was more about convincing him to stay in the relationship rather than really trying to assure, or I guess like have transparency. And ultimately, he learned that Halo was healthy and moved by that outcome and wanting to keep the family together, he got back with Halle again. So already, like, it kind of gets me so annoyed. Like, I'll be reading the text from even way before Halo was born. It's like their relationship was so toxic. Like, they did not need to have this baby. They did not need to get back together. Like, this didn't need to happen. But, you know, Halle was very, you know, dependent on DDG. And that's, like, not a bad thing to say. That's not a put down on her. She was very dependent on DDG, and you'll see when we go through the text. Then we go to page 28, which is the movie fight. So the movie fight has been a big thing that's been talked about. So basically, DDG went to go see a movie with a female friend who was strictly platonic. As he says, she was a strictly platonic friend. There was no romantic or inappropriate relationship. And Halle attempted to, you know, fight this girl. When she found out that they were there, she had tracked him using air tags, and she got to the movie theater and she attempted to fight her. She was screaming expletives. She was saying that she was going to beat her, you know, made multiple accusations of infidelity and tried to fight the girl. And, you know, DDG's mom and fiance corroborate the story by saying that they helped to try to de-escalate the situation. And, you know, it was really troubling because the petitioner was becoming unhinged more frequently. But what really bothers me about this is that DDG at this time was known to have cheated on Halle. Like, he was cheating on Halle so many times. So of course I could understand her. I mean, I'm not condoning her behavior, but I could see why she was just so unhinged and she was pregnant and all these things. But like I said, there's a lot of evidence to show that Halle honestly was struggling way before Halo. So we're going to get into that. So now we're going to get into the text messages between DDG and Halle. These span from like many different time frames over the past like 3 years. So this is from before Halo was born. This is before Halo, like Halle's pregnancy with Halo. So she says, "Bet, I'm going to call you one more time. He says, phone is on airplane mode. I'm not letting you ruin my day over this BS. The trust issues are becoming overwhelming. Maybe that's for the best. I put in too much time and effort into making you happy to have to deal with this BS every other day. And in your eyes, you're never wrong. It's frustrating and I'm over it. I'm no longer entertaining this argument. I need to work on becoming more successful like Jay-Z, like you said. Then maybe you'll take my vision of becoming a big label owner serious instead of crapping on my dreams every second you get. Halle says, you don't want to be with me. That's okay. I will never beg anyone. I will be successful. I don't need to be with someone who's going to demean me. You like that I'm insecure. It makes you feel good about yourself. I'm not doing this anymore. Keep your phone on airplane mode. But when I die, don't say crap. Don't come to my funeral or anything. F you. Be happy that these are the last texts you get from me. Crazy how the one person I thought I could trust and be there for me constantly proves me wrong. You are wrong. You know that emotionally I struggle and have a hard time, yet when I'm obviously going through something, you ignore me until I go crazy. You throw in my face my insecurities and laugh about it. You put your phone on airplane mode and say you're not dealing with it. But when something bad happens, don't say anything. Because this was my attempt to beg you to listen to me, to just answer the phone, to just hear me, to try and understand where I'm coming from. But you don't. And you'll regret it. You'll regret ever meeting me. Go back to the bees you're used to. Go back to effing thoughts. That's what you want. You've never wanted anyone like me. You and your family hate me. Just admit it. But that's okay. Everyone does. But Poseidon. I will go and fly and be just fine in heaven without any of this, without any of you rude people making me feel bad about myself. And you can show these texts to whoever you want. Laugh about it. Laugh about it now. Goodbye. I was in the shower. If you want to talk, you can talk to me in person instead of eating food without me, and I never eat without making sure you eat first. Okay, I'm leaving. The doors are locked. You can come get Poseidon and your laptop and stuff tomorrow. I'm gonna go home. Okay, so already from these texts, like, it kind of really reveals to me that Halle was feeling really insecure, you know? She was saying that, like, oh, you know, go F the B's that you're used to. Like, she already knows that, you know, she's not DDG's type. Like, I feel like that's a big thing that a lot of people have been talking about, that she is not DDG's type. Like, he really goes for a lot of racially ambiguous, you know, like, thicker women, and Halle, while beautiful, Halle is gorgeous, but she doesn't fit that standard, and I think she felt that even back then, and that was really tense on her. And again, I think the way she's talking, it's like she's constantly sending texts back to back to back to back to back to back to back. Like, that's not healthy. And I kind of feel like, I'm gonna get more into this, but I kind of feel like a lot of people are saying that Halle's crash outs were justified because she was dealing with postpartum and she was pregnant, but a lot of this was happening before she was pregnant. So in my head, I'm thinking there's something deeper going on here, and I think it's dismissive to try to say that there's nothing going on. I feel like it doesn't really make sense to try and assert that nothing was happening. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that's kind of disingenuous to what we're seeing, but let's keep going. So this is from February 2023. So this is before she was pregnant with Halo still. This was like a few months before she became pregnant with Halo. So she said, I just want to resolve it so I can get some sleep, please. You don't ever have to talk to me again, but I can't breathe right now. I'm just so stupid. This whole thing is so stupid. I want to die. I never want to be here again. I hate this all. I hate this life. He says, please stop taking it to this extreme. She says, I tried begging my only friend to help me. He says, I'm still communicating with you. She says, you won't help me. It's from June 5th, 2023. So this is when she's pregnant with Halo. She says, I'm so tired. I'm in pain. I don't want to do this anymore every day. You lie on me to your mama. He said, that's why we need to take some time apart. She says, you make it seem like I'm this horrible person, even though I've cleared up everything. Just leave me to die. I will be fine. You cause me pain. You are selfish. I've been crying nonstop because of you. I can't be here anymore. Then on June 28th, 2023, he says, you're sick. She says, you push everyone away who really tried to love you. I've tried really hard to fight for this relationship. I can't do this with you anymore when you're constantly purposely throwing me into the fire. He says, okay, block me. She says, I've just asked for understanding. He says, I'm done texting. Do what you gotta do. She says, if I die, you wouldn't even care. Then he says, I would, you just tripping and keep threatening to kill my unborn son. You're weird. I wouldn't feel safe having a child with you at this point. Stop being fake happy to be a mom. Just so disturbing. It makes me think first, like, again, this shouldn't have happened. So then again, we go into, this is after she had Halo. So on this page, this is after she had Halo. So she says, weird, I've had enough. I don't want to talk to you ever again. Please don't contact me. If you need to contact me, please reach out to my sister or Shermay. So Shermay is their godmother, Chloe and Halle's godmother. She says, I hate you. You're the most horrible person I've ever met. I wish I didn't have to fight with you, but you continue to let me down every time. And then speak about exchanging my son in a money deal for views. By the way, you see how like frantic these messages are. She's not even typing coherently. She's exposing that she feels that he's using Halo for views. Then she said, and openly flirt and help every woman in the world but me. You hate me and want me to die. I want to die because of you. I will die because of you. It's your fault. Cry about it later. He says, why do you want me to sit on the phone and listen to you yell at me all day? You do this to me every day. She says, I beg you for help. You know I don't have anyone. You know I'm actively and struggling. I've been running to the doctor every day for help and you still play in my face. I won't make it to my birthday because of you. You have ruined me and all my happiness. You hang up when I'm begging for help. You're the only help I used to have, and you're so focused on being famous and having money when you don't even see what's in front of you. How could you? How could you go to Mexico and be with someone else? So these messages are from, when she suspected that DDG cheated on her with Lala Baptiste, I think her name is. So she is saying, how could you go to Mexico and be with someone else? How could you openly talk crap about me to all your family and all the women you want to sleep with? You want to ruin me and you succeeded. I hope you're happy. I didn't make it. I tried. I can't do this anymore. You can make up whatever story you want to tell people about how I am or how I used to be. You can make up whatever you want when I'm gone. Tell everyone I'm crazy. I can't wait. I can't wait for you to realize how badly you effed up, how you ruined me, and any chance I had of having a good life and putting myself back together, and you continue to ignore us. Me and your son are alone. You don't care about us anymore. You never did. This is really a lot. This is really a lot. He says, you want to off yourself because I tweeted Sexy Red, a good rapper. This literally makes no sense. I feel like there's a lot there. I feel like I was really kind of just going through all the text messages, but clearly at this time, Halle was very provoked. Halle was very angry. But like I stated before, a lot of this was happening before she got pregnant with Halo. So now I'm going to go back into texts that really illustrate before she was pregnant with Halo. So in February 2023, she says, you won't. Everyone is against me. I can't. I'm embarrassed and humiliated and tired. No one understands how I feel. I tried. Hurting yourself won't fix anything. The internet crap is irrelevant. It's fixed already. She says, just leave me alone. He says, stop thinking about that. She says, don't ever try to contact me again. And then again, going back to the whole cheating thing from March of last year, she says, this is proof. You leave me hanging as a mother. You won't step up when you need to. Again, you see just how upset she is and how frantic she is. She said, I just found out you slept with Lala in Mexico. I'm going to off myself tonight. My son will not be around for it. I hate you forever. You can have him and let her be his mom. He says, I can't believe you're acting like this. She says, you put your penis inside of her in Mexico, knowing I was here taking care of our son, knowing I was crying before you left. You selfish, disgusting person. You're evil. I'm giving you your son. He says, you're making stuff up. She says, please, I don't want him around for this. Please take him from me. I don't want him to see me like this. I'm begging you for Halo. Please, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. Knowing I poured my heart out to you before I left, you still went and effed her and you can't even own up to it. I hate you. You are evil. You want me to die. Please take Halo. Then he says, I'm genuinely scared of you, man. I feel like you're going to off me in my sleep one day. I'm not allowing you in my house around guns. Please just go home and I'll pick up Halo from there. She says, me and Halo are in the cold and you won't let us in your house. Are you serious? He says, I'm not letting you in my house around guns. She says, I'm here in my pajamas in the cold and you won't let us in your house. Wow. Okay. I asked for help. I asked you to take Halo from me right now and you won't. Instead, you leave us in the cold. You will never hear from me again. He says, it's not safe for you to be around guns. Please just go home and we'll figure it out later. She says, there is no later. There was only now and you missed it. I called and texted 1,000 times. You can't tell me I didn't ask for your help in the height of my struggle. I did, and you denied me over and over to spend time at the club. Left me outside in the cold outside your house. We can never come back from this. You missed your chance to take Halo. We are leaving. He says, as long as you don't hurt yourself, I'm cool with that. We'll figure it out later. She says, I've already started hurting myself. Congratulations. You killed me, evil, evil man. You never cared about me. You called my family. They're not going to help me. I'm not answering anyone. I called you because I needed to speak to you, and now you've made it worse. You never cared about me or loved me. It was all a lie. You have treated me like crap. And then, so then it goes into stuff that happened in August. So this is literally insane. This is so freaking sad. Honestly, reading all of that is just really overwhelming. And you can just see the distress with Halle. Again, I feel like I'm kind of just going through all of it, kind of just crazy because it's just a lot. But it's I had it broken down in my notes, okay, we're going to read this first and read that first. And then I just kept going. So it's really a lot. Again, I just think it's evident that Halle is having struggles. I think a lot of it was triggered by DDG, of course. I think a lot of her frustrations and a lot of her pain was triggered by Daryl. I think DDG really provoked her in a lot of ways, was constantly cheating on her. He's very immature. So of course, you know, she felt gaslit. She felt stonewalled. She's asking for his help and he's stonewalling her. He's like, then he replies all calmly. So like, then it's like, it makes Halle look crazy because he's replying all calm. But like I said, I don't think that Halle's problems are just on DDG. I feel like she has more going on. You know, I'm not going to try to diagnose her. I'm not going to try to guess what she has. But the fact that a lot of this was going on even before Halo, to me, is indicative of the fact that she clearly has something going on. DDG probably knows she has something going on because he said it's not safe for you to be around guns. So to me, it's indicative of the fact that Halle has had more and she really needs help. That's what it is. She really needs help. Like, they both need help. He's breaking into her house, you know, taking a photo of her bed. He's getting jealous about Brent Fayez. She's coercing him. She's this. She's doing all that. It was a mess. It was a whole mess. And I just don't like the idea where everyone's trying to pin it's on one person. Oh, it's all Halle's fault. It's all DDG's fault. No, they both need help. They're both not well. In my personal opinion, they're both not well. It's very evident.
All right, y'all. So we are bringing back Photo Booth for Editor Me, but there have been so many updates since I recorded even that insert yesterday. So Halle actually responded to the emergency motion by making a declaration to the judge that she has been treating her mental health struggles and she is 100% available and capable as a parent to their son, Halo. She says that DDG exaggerated, lied, and misconstrued for the court, and not only about their relationship, but the parenting and mental health. And she says that she's been very vocal about her struggles with anxiety, depression, and previous thoughts of unaliving herself. She also says, without waiving the psychotherapist patient privilege and physician patient privilege, I have reached out to my doctor and received treatment to address these issues. I have been and remain 100% available and capable as a parent to our son, Halo. So again, like, you know, and like, I think this kind of supports like what I was saying before, that I feel like a lot of people are kind of making it seem like Halle's, you know, outbursts are simply because DDG was pushing her and she was going through PPD, but she even admits herself that she's had struggles and she has sought treatment for them. And, you know, again, that's not to put her down at all. In fact, it's incredibly commendable, and I'm so happy she's been seeking help. And I really hope now that she has a really strong support system, because I can't imagine having to deal with this while you're trying to go film a movie. And it just makes me think how funny that DDG filed this emergency motion right as when she's going to film a movie, right when she has this press around her. And if he was really concerned about Halo, why didn't he do this ages ago? Why didn't he, you know, file for this ages ago? He'll try to claim, oh, it was to protect her reputation and, you know, not to get in the way with our son. But I'm like, no, but if you're really concerned about your son, you're going to do what you need to do. So he clearly did this just to retaliate against Halle. So, you know, for me, I've never been a fan of DDG. I've known about DDG since the Kennedy Simone days. So I was watching Kennedy back in the Fabulous and the Macon days, if anyone remembers that era. And that, like, around that time, maybe like 2017 is when DDG came on our channel, and I just never liked him. Like, I never liked him even back then. I never thought his videos were entertaining. I never really watched them. I only watched his content. I didn't even watch his content. I just watched Kennedy's content and where he was in it. So I was just never a fan personally of DDG, but I also don't want to gloss over the fact that Halle herself contributed a lot of toxicity to this relationship, and they seem to terrorize each other. Like, I think that that's not something that is too out there to say. And so I just kind of wanted to acknowledge both sides in that respect. But again, I'm sure that, again, DDG clearly exacerbated things as time went on, as she was pregnant, as she had Halo. Like, he clearly poked the bear so many times until she snapped. Like, that is so evident.
So then going to page 73. So this is in August of last year. So Halle says, you have treated me like crap on the ground. I didn't deserve this. I tried my hardest. I want to live. I want to be happy. I don't want to die, but I don't know what else to do. I've tried. I'm reaching out to you for help to please come get your son because I am not okay. I'm not okay, and I don't want him to be around like this. I don't know what else to do. You've hurt me too bad. You've made everything so much worse. I don't want Halo to be around me like this. He says, I'm coming to get him. She says, but then you come and try to take him from me and say disrespectful crap to me, like pack his bag, like I'm a dog. You've hurt me too much. You've hurt me to my core. Please just leave me alone. I'm not okay, and it's because of you. I'm not okay, and it's because of what you did. I'm not okay. Please just leave me alone. He says, so can I get Halo or no Halle? She says, I'm tired of asking. I've reached out for help multiple times. There's proof everywhere that I tried to reach out for help before I did this. He says, I'm on the way already to get Halo. She says, I tried so hard. I did everything I could. I loved you the best that I could. I thought me having your child would prove to you my commitment and my loyalty to you. But you went behind my back, and now my son will have a broken home. I tried so hard. I did everything I could up until this point. Why do I have to do something drastic for anyone to take me seriously? You'll miss me when I'm gone. I'm tired. I've been alone in this apartment for 6 days every day in my bed. I've gone crazy in this room. I don't want to be here anymore. Please just leave me alone. You've done enough. He says, stop talking like you're gonna hurt yourself for Halo. She says, I would never hurt my child, ever. I'm simply not tough enough for this world. Please take Halo so he doesn't have to see. I'm not okay. My heart is broken. I can't pretend everything is okay. I've asked for help so many times, too many times. I feel like I'm drowning. You never cared about me, not once in my life. You lied to me about loving me. You never did. I'm just too heartbroken. Please just leave me alone. I'll be gone soon, and then you can be free. I'm exhausted. I can't keep up anymore. I won't. This is really sad. I really don't have the words. Like, guys, don't expect me to have a lot of words here. I don't have a lot of words for this. This is really, 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 really sad. I genuinely feel like, again, Halle has had her struggles, and DDG just brought the worst out in her and just made it so much worse. And you can tell that Halle is so dependent on DDG, and that's the other thing that gets me, is like, where was her family? Where was even Chloe? Because she said everyone hates me except Poseidon. So she's even trying to say even Chloe hates me. It makes me wonder, like, where is her family? Where is her siblings? Where is anyone? I already know that Chloe is estranged from her parents. She said this like last year on Twitter Spaces, that she doesn't talk to her parents anymore. I don't know if Halle is also in the same condition where she doesn't talk to her parents, but this is really, really sad. But now we're going to get into page 80 real quick. So this is from this year. So he says, this is literally from this year. So 3 months ago, February 27th. You didn't talk about Halo for more than 2 minutes. That whole conversation was about girls. I'm working. I don't know what to tell you. She says, every day I want to die because of the way you embarrass me online and allow other women to speak on me. I keep going because of how much I love her son. He says, I have $40,000 in bills every month. I have no choice but to work. And Halle says, and how much I know he needs me. He says, send me a clip of a girl disrespecting you. I'll give you $10K if you can. She says, you constantly hurt me and then try to say I'm wrong for asking for support. So yeah, this is just a lot. Then, you know, it keeps on going and going and going. There's more from like May. So these texts, you know, it just says, so Halle says, I just thought we'd do what I wanted to do today since it's Mother's Day, but if you really want to go, you can. I'll just go home and pack. Hello. He says, if you don't come back here, I'm going to call the police. I don't want you doing something stupid. I'm going to give it 5 minutes. You have a son. I know you took my gun. The gun has no safety. Put it down. That's nothing to play with. I guess he's saying you're going to let him go through life without a mom. He says, I have to call the police. I can't let this happen. She says, I tried calling. It's just weird. You wouldn't think to check on if we made it safely. This is my point. After a day like yesterday and the things you said to me, you're just not capable of showing me any affection or love. I call and you send me to voicemail like I'm disturbing you, like I'm just a fly that's in your way. So that, I think, is all the text messages from their situation, and it's just really, 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 really sad. And I didn't think it was this bad. I really didn't think it was this bad between DDG and Halo, or DDG and Halle. It's just really, really sad. Yeah, so I think this is just evident. I think Halle was going through a lot, especially considering that she was filming for The Little Mermaid. You know, she's filming for Little Mermaid. She's, you know, having the world against her, telling her that she was wrong for dating DDG, that she shouldn't have been with him, and all these things. And I think the world was just coming down on her, and she didn't really have support. And I think it just is heartbreaking to know that she was going through this, but I really think she needs help. So they should have never been together. Halle, I think, really needed help and therapy. And I talk about this more later in the video, where I say that a lot of child stars, I think, really need that help and that support, because it seems to me like she was chasing like validation and affirmation through DDG instead of really looking inward and finding it within herself. You know, some people have even said that maybe she was struggling because Chloe was doing things in her career, and, you know, things with The Little Mermaid were taking time to take off. So maybe she was feeling pressure to, you know, stay afloat as well. Just a lot of stuff going on, and it's just really sad and disturbing. And I don't know, like, they really need help. You know, again, like, I don't know, hopefully she's gotten that help since then. I mean, the latest texts that he provided were from February of this year, but that was only like 3 months ago. That wasn't even a full 3 months ago. That was like 3 months and some days ago. So hopefully she's been getting help in the past few months. Hopefully she has help right now, knowing that this is now out there. It's just really, really sad. And I just really hope and pray that, you know, she really finds it within herself to look for, I guess, peace and not relying on a man or a man's family to satisfy her. You know, I know, and I'm just going to say this, like Halle's posted about this, that she does believe in Jesus. You know, I've even saw on her Snapchat, she posted herself at church. I really hope that if, you know, she's pursuing Christ, that she gets to know him as he really is, that he can give her the love and the stability that she's looking for. So it's just really, really, just really, really sad.
Okay, so it is really early the next morning, but I just wanted to kind of give like my final thoughts on like the whole restraining order situation. Overall, like I said, I do think that both Halle and DDG have issues. However, Halle, I think, is the only one that seems to be taking real steps to get those issues under control and, you know, be as strong of a mother as she can be for Halo. You know, I think her having Halo pushed her to really get the help that she needed. You know, she had the resources, but I think sometimes, like with mental health, you don't always get help and utilize your resources until you acknowledge that you have these issues that need to get under control. So I really commend Halle for doing that. Whereas DDG just seems to continue wanting to weaponize his audience against her, you know, retaliating against her. And it's like, he needs to grow up. He's getting closer to 30 than he is 20. Like, he's a year older than me, I think. So he'll be 28 this year. It's like, bro, grow up. Like, it's just not worth it. So in the next part of the video, I'm going to be talking about Halle's childhood, which is going to give more context to, I think, why things went the way they did with her. And I'm also going to be talking about Skai Jackson as well, because she's also someone that is going through this situation. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video.
So I want to talk a little bit about Halle and DDG before I get into our next case study, which is Skai Jackson and Yerky. So basically, it's very interesting because I was like a huge fan of Chloe and Halle, especially when I was in college. I used to watch Grownish. I used to listen to their music. Like, I streamed their first album and all of that. And so I've like just been following both of their careers for a while, and especially Halle. And I think it's so interesting because people always try to prop Halle up as the angel and the princess of the duo, and the fact that Halle would never do blah, 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 blah. And then when she got with DDG, that's when her public perception really flipped. He was constantly posting things about jealousy. He made a song talking about how like he is jealous of her success. He might try to destroy her success. When she was doing her Little Mermaid press run, he was making like crude tweets about their sex slave, kind of just like defaming her co-star, who is, I forgot his name. I can't believe I forgot his name. It starts with a J. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad that I forgot his name because I really like him. But yeah, just going on a whole rant. And so he was just constantly saying things. He's constantly airing out business on stream. Even ever since they broke up like last fall. He's constantly bringing all these women on stream. He's constantly throwing shots at Halle. The whole thing happened where he was like, oh, I can't see my son. She's not letting me see my son. And that's basically what Halle reported about in her filing for a restraining order. And it's just really crazy to me because it just makes me think like a lot of people did try to warn Halle, a lot of internet people, but something I've just recognized is like with a lot of celebrities, and I think for someone who, I'm not trying to say Halle's like super young or anything because she's like 25, but I think when she got with DDG, she was like in her early 20s. You know, I feel like she seemed to be very enamored with him. I mean, she slid into his DMs. And so I kind of feel like she wasn't really listening to the court of public opinion. I feel like she was just like, oh, everybody's just hating, everyone's just this. And I feel like, you know, especially when you consider like Chloe and Halle's upbringing, or at least like how they came up in the music industry, they were very insulated by their dad. I'm gonna get more into their dad, by the way, later in this video. But, you know, I feel like Chloe and Halle were very insulated by their dad and, you know, like very protected. Their image was very curated. And then once she got this freedom, she's like, oh, I want to explore this. Oh my gosh, there's this guy that I've always thought is cute. I want to talk to him and blah, blah, blah. And I think she was just kind of blinded by the fantasy of him instead of really looking at the reality and the red flags of the situation. And I just think it's important, especially when you're in that kind of position, when you're in that kind of like tier, in that kind of fame, it's something you have to steward properly. This might personally, I still like, you know, child stars, y'all know, if you've been watching me, if you've seen my like older videos where I would always talk about child stars and influencers, I just don't really like child stardom, period, because I think it really warps with your mind, it messes with your mind. Halle's been in the business since she was a little kid. I just kind of feel like it just really messes with your mind, and messes with your judgment, and messes with your reasoning. I just think that it's really sad because, you know, like now it's like, I mean, Halle obviously still has a successful career. She's still filming, she's still making music, she's still doing things. But a lot of people feel like DDG, like now she's forever attached to this guy that basically tried to take her down and was jealous of her and was rude to her and now is like mistreating her. And so it's like now your brand is forever attached to this person. You know what I mean? Now your brand is forever attached to this person. Your son's father it's now on record that he did all this. You know, one day Halo's gonna grow up, he's gonna be able to see all this stuff online, and it's just sad. You know, I think it's just really sad. But I'm gonna get more into their story. I wanna transition to talking about Skai and her guy, and then I kind of want to wrap it up and kind of talk about different themes I'm noticing between both of them, because I think they both have like similar themes. So the next couple we're talking about is Skai Jackson and DeAndre Burgeon, I think that's his name, aka Yerky. Again, literally my brother, like I was in the kitchen, I was making some food, my brother comes up and he's like, you know Skai Jackson has a boyfriend named Yerky. And he said it like that, like Yerky. And he's just like, what is a yerky? Like, that is the worst name I've ever heard. I was like, nah, it's for real. He was like, a yerky? And he was like, and I was like, yeah, she found him on Prison Talk. And he was like, what? And it's just like, yo, like how on earth you, Skai Jackson, who was like a little mini Disney princess basically on Jessie, you were beloved, you know, you've been beloved, but then Skai's gotten herself into a lot of nonsense over the years. I think her mom has a lot to do with it, but anyway, let me just go through their thing. Skai Jackson has been dating this dude named Yerky. Kasai, her son, I believe, yeah, her son was born in January. Skai was granted a temporary restraining order and the hearing is set for June 9th. So that's in a few weeks from now. No, that's like next week. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure DDG and Halle, that's June 4th. All right, sorry, I don't mean to be bouncing around, but I'm just like, it's like I have my stuff and then I also like, I'm just thinking on the fly. Anyway, the allegations with Skai Jackson is that it was a 6-month pattern of choking, punching. He threatened her to drink bleach while she was pregnant, which is literally disgusting. That is demonic. Like, you're telling her to drink bleach while she's pregnant. Slamming her head into a car window while holding their baby, knife threats, and then property destruction. The violence occurred even during the pregnancy, culminating on Mother's Day, and legal action reinforced the immediacy of the threat and that it was potentially life-threatening. So essentially, Skai was like fearing for her life at this point and fearing for her baby's life. And I don't want to get super into how she met Yerky, but yeah, she met him on Prison Talk. She even said that she was never going to reveal her boyfriend. Like, she was on, I think she made a video a while back talking about how like if she was in a relationship, no one's going to know. She started posting him all over social media. He's a complete, you know, like just degenerate. He is on stream constantly bashing her. He went on a tweeting spree saying that like, you know, screw that Disney B or something like that. Just completely disparaging her, being so disrespectful, being so trifling. I mean, it's just like, where do you find this dude? But no, she found him through Prison Talk. So I'm just like, why are you going through prison? Like, why are you chasing these girls? Like, why? Girl, sis, why? Of all the men you could have access to, you go for this? And the thing is like, I'm pretty sure he was from Ohio, so like he was in prison, he was, you know, he's living that rough, rinky-dinky life, and she brought him up, you know, bringing him up into Beverly Hills, you know, like funding his lifestyle, parading him around, and he doesn't even have the decency to even speak with any lick of respect towards her. It's literally insane. I'm just like, yo, this is real life. This is Lil Zuri from Jessie all grown up. So yeah, I'm still like, even that situation, like I feel like there's not even a lot to be said, except you start looking at the root. You start looking at how she grew up. So that's what I'm going to get into next. What are the roots of these situations? You know, basically their child star roots and trauma, you know, which I've kind of found like a lot of similarities with Halle and Skai, or at least a few. So again, Halle Bailey is a child star. She grew up singing with her sister Chloe, doing all kinds of shows growing up. You know, she was, I think she was on House of Pain. Like, I think she was a guest star on there. They did stuff with Radio Disney. They were just like all like grinding. Basically, Chloe and Halle were grinding for a lot of their childhood, and then they were discovered on YouTube doing covers to Beyonce songs, and then Beyonce signed them to her label Parkwood. So, you know, Halle just had a lot. I feel like Halle, the way I look at Halle's come up is that it seemed kind of gradual. It wasn't an instant overnight success. She wasn't instant. I mean, yeah, Chloe did Fighting Temptations and all of that, but like they weren't instant sensations. They weren't like these super famous child stars. They were kind of just gradually putting in work and perfecting their craft. And then by the time they hit teenhood, that's when they really hit their stardom. And it's so interesting how growing up, I mean, I used to watch Chloe and Halle's lives, by the way, on, you know, back during COVID when they used to live stream, and they would always kind of give little tidbits about their childhood, and their parents just seemed really strict. They seemed like they grew up in very strict homes and very, like, their parents were not playing with them. Her father, Doug Bailey, was actually arrested and charged in November 2007 with DV, including punching her mother multiple times and cruelty to children before completing a intervention program and having charges dropped. Halle grew up seeing DV in her home. You know, Halle grew up seeing that. So I feel like when you're exposed to that growing up, it's a lot easier for you to fall susceptible to relationships like that as you age, you know, because that's what you're used to, right? It influences you to go into terrible relationships through learned behavior. It's learned behavior that you experience, you trauma bond as a result of your upbringing. I also think in general, when you mix child stardom with that, having to work, right? Like, and plus I think like Chloe and Halle, at least for a good, or at least for some of their lives, went to regular schools. It's like you're juggling school, you're juggling like a child star schedule, and then you are watching your mother be hurt. You know, I don't want to say, I can't say the word, you know, hurt at home. And so I think a lot of that combined, I think, can really lead you to not being able to set as many emotional boundaries, not having as strong a self-esteem because you weren't given a strong unit to look up to as a kid. You know, I feel like Chloe and Halle especially, like I keep adding Chloe into this because, you know, she grew up with Chloe in this brand. Like it wasn't just Halle. I feel like they were really packaged and put together to be like these perfect girls from perfect homes. And now we see that wasn't the case, you know? And now that we know that she grew up seeing this in her home, it's like there's these echoes from the past, you know, the patterns of control, emotional manipulation, and violence, and that's carrying over into her adult relationships. And that, I think that's what happens when you don't really, you know, address generational trauma, when you don't address the things that you went through growing up. And again, I'm not here to say that I know everything that went on in the Bailey household growing up, but just from what we know online, I think when you don't really address those kinds of things you've went through, you're destined to repeat those same kind of mistakes. What it can cause is that you become more tolerant because you're used to it. You're not as familiar with healthy relationships, healthy love, boundaries. And so you're more willing to tolerate nonsense. And even Halle ended up saying that the mistreatment from DDG started, I think, before she was pregnant. So it's like even before she got pregnant with this guy, he was already treating her terribly. And maybe it could have been due to public opinion and public pressure because so many people didn't like DDG, and maybe she felt like she needed to prove people wrong. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like, I don't want to, this is a bad comparison, but like, it makes me think of, I don't know if y'all watch Love is Blind, but there was Jackie from season 4. She was in a relationship with Josh. This is the first couple that came to my mind, okay? Like, they were together, but you could tell they were only together to try to prove people wrong because people hate how she left the relationship with Marshall. So people were like, oh yeah, her and Josh were only together to prove a point. And they ended up breaking up like a year later. And it just makes me think that like when people put in a lot of their opinions like that, are saying like, oh no, this is wrong, da 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 da, like they feel this pressure, like I need to prove everyone wrong, you know? Another thing I want to bring up with Skai Jackson, so this is kind of off the dome as I'm like, you know, going through this video. I really look at her mother. I think her mother's name is Kia Cole, whatever her name is. She was a video vixen back in the 90s and I think early 2000s. She was friends with Biggie and Tupac, or she knew them. And it's like whenever I see videos of her mom, it always gave me vibes that her mother was just so obsessed with pushing Skai into fame. Like Skai was doing a lot of different commercials, a lot of different shows growing up. She was like, Skai was working. She was working from her infancy pretty much. And it's really crazy because I remember there's this video on Skai's YouTube channel that she posted. I think she unlisted it now, but I found it, okay? I found the video. And it's a house tour. And pretty much throughout this entire video, Skai's mom is like talking through the whole thing.
Well, the first thing you see, first of all, coming right through the front door is who?
Well, we didn't get there.
Well, what's the first thing you see?
Biggie.
Yeah, Biggie.
And then you just have this big mirror.
And now Buddhas, because I love Buddhas. Some people don't really buy into the whole Buddha, but I like it. Just some family pictures there.
Candles in here.
Yeah, I have candles. Let me just say this. You see this right there, that buffet table or whatever? Candles in there. This house is perfect for like entertaining. And I do like to entertain, so I will be doing more entertainment.
We're gonna come upstairs.
Okay, Biggie. I'm gonna pass Biggie because, oh, quick little thing. You know, we're from New York, and I have kind of a history with, you know, that whole Biggie. Yes, I've met him. I've known him. Sweetheart.
And Skai's mom is like, I did this and I did that and I put this here and I put that here. She ain't even letting her own daughter speak. She's just constantly talking throughout the entire video. And that video, that really kind of like blew my mind. Like that video really made me look at Skai's mom differently. I'm just like, is she just trying to live vicariously through Skai? Is she trying to be the main character here? Because that is literally all I got from that video. I also just caught a video the other day of Kaya Cole on Snapchat, her mother, talking about how women need to choose better and women need to choose better men. So we're gonna play that right here.
On with these successful young women dealing with these knuckleheads and idiots, and then they're left to pick up the slack, and these knuckleheads and idiots show you who they were from the beginning. Come on, ladies, we have to do better. We have to do better, and this goes for all ladies. All ladies, we have to do better. Your picker needs to pick better. The lessons learned, and hopefully these learned lessons take you into the future to know what to deal with and what not to deal with ever again. It's a beautiful day here in sunny California. The trees are treeing, the sun is sunning, it's warm. I'm getting a burger from Irv's Burgers. I just worked out. As you can see, it's a workout outfit on. But that was just a question. Ladies, and just a note. We need to do better, including myself. Look, I've been celibate now for way over a year, almost 2. I refuse to deal with this nonsense. I refuse to deal with it. I ain't got no time to be stressed. I got enough crap going on at home. I don't need add a stressful man at this point in my life. No, I'm good. I guess I'll just be single till I'm not. Till I'm good and ready not to be. Because I ain't desperate and I ain't in no rush either.
And so in my mind, I'm thinking, this is your daughter, okay? This is your daughter. I'm thinking, the call is coming from inside the house. You're talking about women need to choose better. I'm single, I'm celibate, blah, 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 blah. When right now your daughter is going through probably the lowest point of her career and her life right now. And you're talking about this as if your own daughter, like, are you trying to shade your own daughter? It's very weird. Basically inadvertently kind of addressing your own child. It's like, are you trying to be against her when she needs your support as a mother? And when I think about the kind of stuff Skai got in trouble with, like in her teenhood, like I think of her squabble with Bad Baby. I think about her back and forth with like all kinds of other, like Jodie Woods. Like there was that whole thing with Jodie Woods where Jordan Woods got on, Instagram Live or something and like basically told her like, yo, you better back off my sister.
Letting it slide. And I'm sure you're on here right now.
Okay.
And it's not going to slide for too long.
I told you.
So keep it up. And it's going to be a problem because I do not mess with people messing with my family. Okay, especially when you're way older than her. And don't make me make it public because I will.
You know, like being a mean girl, and I'm not trying to put Skai down. It's just you've noticed the pattern where Skai just seemed kind of reckless, and it seemed to me like she would throw rocks and hide her hands. And, you know, even there was that whole debacle with Solange Knowles' son Jules and everything like that leaked. And then there was NBA YoungBoy and like just her constantly, it just seemed like she was constantly in a state of like just disarray. And it just makes you think, like, did her mother care? Was her mother, you know, watching out for her mother? Was her mother taking good care of her? Was her mother, you know, like doting on her? Or was Skai just her mother's meal ticket? I feel like a lot of people would tend to like angelicize, if that's the right word, Halle and Skai, because they have like innocent looking faces. They look really sweet. They look really nice. Meanwhile, they're making choices that seem pretty reckless. And it just makes you wonder, it's like, okay, could that also be stemming from their upbringing as child stars? You know, you have to put on this certain image no matter what. And so like, you're gonna save face, you're gonna do whatever you can to make everything look great and perfect and wonderful, but then you're suffering behind closed doors, and is it really worth it? And then you're bringing children into this world that now have fathers that clearly don't respect their mothers. And it's just like, you know, is it really worth it at the end of the day? And again, this isn't condemnation. This isn't trying to put them down. It's like really asking the question, like, is it worth it? I'm thinking with both women, they also have their baby daddies using social media as tools of control. You know, DDG really loves to weaponize social media. DDG is really good at the social media game. He's been a YouTuber forever. And Halle doesn't have that kind of pull on social media, so she went straight to the authorities. Halle's pull is like authentic Hollywood clout, but you know, social media sometimes can scream louder than even authentic clout. And I think that's another thing as well with the situation, is like Halle's just like, yo, I can't win this game, I'm going straight to court. You know, Yerky's out here making all kinds of threats, saying all kinds of stuff, and Skai went straight to court. It's like they know that, okay, we can't win this game, but then it's like, okay, you know, these people are clearly obsessed with validation, social media, etc., etc., and now you have to deal with picking up the pieces. So personally, the way I see it with this kind of situation, honestly, I think the way to address and to destroy a cycle like this, like with Halle, Skai, even Keke Palmer, she's another one. It's kind of like, the way I see it is like really facing your generational traumas, really facing your hurt, really facing all those things that you underwent. And also, like, I personally feel like, especially if you grew up in this industry, needing mandatory mental health resources, mandatory checkups, you know, counseling, all the things that you need in order to try to grow up well adjusted, because growing up under the spotlight, it ain't for the weak. You know, you might build resilience under the cameras, but then you're not able to hide those personal wounds at the end of the day. You might be able to build resilience just to save face, but that's all that you can do. I also think like it's just a reminder that we ought to not idolize celebrity relationships. You know, I think again, society's moving into this culture where we're not glamorizing celebrities like we used to. You know, things are really shifting. But again, it's a reminder, you can't glamorize these relationships. Like, I know a lot of people were against Halle and DDG's relationship, but also a lot of people supported them. And it just goes to show that you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You don't need to prop up these people who wouldn't even spit on you if you were on fire. The Hollywood life is smoke and mirrors. And I really do hope the best for Halle and Skai. I really do hope that they learn from these situations, that they bounce back, and that they get men that actually love them and cherish them and cherish their children. I just think it's really sad. And I think at the end of the day, you know, women can reclaim their narratives. You know, Halle and Skai are still very young. Even if they weren't, they still can, right? You can still reclaim your narrative. You can still rewrite your story. It's about taking back your future. You know, they have the resources, the fame to be able to do that. But even everyday women, you know, we don't have those kinds of resources. And I think that's why it's so imperative to just be very careful, you know, about who you lay down with. You know, the whole conversation about like how I'm not going to give anyone a baby unless I got a ring. You know, that's also my philosophy. I mean, not condemning anyone who didn't do that or won't do that or whatever. I'm just saying that I think that's the best thing. That's the best way to go in my opinion. I just think in general, it's very possible to still be able to reclaim your narrative, reclaim your future, not allow things like this to break you down, destroy you. And I think like it's just important to stay updated on, you know, cycles of abuse, like how abuse shows up, how DV, like how it starts, like the little things, like it goes from the little things to the big things, and being very educated on those patterns, I think is very important to avoid and to prevent these kinds of things from happening. Again, like I said, I wish the best for Halle and Skai, but I also say, like, at the end of the day, don't ignore the red flags. Don't ignore the red flags. Don't, you know, compromise your worth just because you're so desperate to be with someone. Like, at the end of the day, like, being single and whole is so much better than being stuck with a dude that devalues you, that disrespects you, that drains your life force, you know, to boost their own. It's been a while since I filmed, but I really hope you guys enjoyed my take on this. I'd love to hear what you guys think about these situations down in the comments. And yeah, I thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time.